Good morning, guys. Welcome to Bitcoin Bounce. I just want to start with reminding you of the news today. So yesterday we had a news event. It was negative for the dollar, and dollar dropped not very far, and then it had a very strong recovery, which kind of didn't make much sense. I think it was probably manipulated. Today, again, same thing. We forecast negative news for the dollar, so the dollar should go down. If it turns out if the actuals are actually negative like predicted, or they could be worse, so that would be great for Bitcoin. If dollar goes down, the Bitcoin should go up. So that's 15:30 South African time. So just be aware of that. Getting back to the Bitcoin chart on the daily, so I'll just run through the patterns that we marked out. I did a video on this yesterday. I'll link it in the description, and you guys will be able to pick it up there. So this is the one pattern that we found. It was actually on the weekly, so it's on the weekly and on the daily. Just a symmetrical triangle, and we're about to break out there. The good thing, very positive for Bitcoin, is that we've actually found support on the 200 EMA on the daily, which is very, very great for us. So we should be kind of looking and expecting a breakout here to the top side. Only negative is that we've made this massive move, and normally a healthy trade would be for it to actually come and retest the 10 or the 20 before we go up again, but at the moment it's just very, very bullish. Other patterns we found on the daily. So in the daily chart, we were trading in this parallel channel. We're still right at the top of that, just so we could break down or break out here. And then moving to the hourly chart, let me just turn that off. So on the hourly chart, we found this one pattern, also symmetrical triangle, that we were trading and still in. So we haven't broken out to the top side or bottom. This could go either way, that pattern. Then also there was a parallel channel, so it's still trading within that as well. And you can see how strong that middle line is there, that we've been struggling to actually get above that. So if we get a breakout and above that, then we should hit the top side on this trade. And if we break below, so on the hourly, the 50 EMA is very strong. If we break under the 50 EMA, then we could then come down and touch the bottom of this channel. If you were trading that pattern, then what we also just found and wanted to keep just keep an eye on is that this we had these two touches on this trend line here, and I think I said yesterday that I would kind of get into a short when we break down under that. But Bitcoin has been very, very strong, but just be aware of it, that we kind of on the wrong side of that trend line now. We'll see when we'll invalidate it and just delete it, but just be extra aware of short now that we on the kind of wrong side of that trend line. Then there's a new pattern that I found, which I think is actually turning out to be the most important of the lot that we found so far. It's just an ascending triangle. So when you've got a horizontal line like that and you keep on hitting it, and it doesn't break through, but you're still making higher lows, then it's a very strong pattern to actually break to the upside, and this is now really turning into one of those. So when we come down, we never break under this line, so we keep on just putting pressure on actually breaking to the top side. So this is kind of the most positive one, and the one that I'm thinking we're probably trading at the moment, so expecting a breakout. I'm still definitely expecting us to a healthy chart should just come down and come and meet this 200 EMA and then only continue further up. So there must be some downside, serious wick or pullback. But then with it being Bitcoin has done this before, just not bothered with coming back to retest or coming to for any health reason. It just flew up. So it could be that we break out, this is the new support, and we go up from there, and then we have to wait for the next pullback somewhere else. So it could happen, but everyone is expecting that we should just somewhere have a healthy pullback before we continue to the upside. So the levels that I'm watching here, still basically the same levels. I picked up that little line there that we haven't crossed up again. So to break to the top side, one would have to break that level definitely, and also then this range here, 21.3 to 21.4, one would have to break above that. So that's the one level that we're watching, and then potential downside would be down here to the 20,000s. So the trades that I would kind of look at today, so I've got short-term options for you. This is now thinking of the news that is coming out later today. So you see what happened here yesterday. That candle there was on the news, so it broke down. It came down to pick up orders, and also then it went up to the top side. But there's definitely support there and resistance there at the moment. So if that news breaks again today, it's negative for the dollar, good for Bitcoin. We're going to have the same kind of scenario. So they always take it in the opposite direction normally first, as you would have expected it to. So it might be that it drops down first and then up, but you never know, it could go up first and then down. So we could just expect one of those spikes. So bearing that in mind, one could then look at these kind of options if you wanted to trade it with leverage. So there's kind of a 1.5% quick trade in this. If you had to leverage that, so by 10, it would be a 15% trade, or you could just trade it on spot and just go for 1.5%, close it out, and that's it. It's still not a bad trade. So one could get in where we are now and target that upside. Or you could hope before the news that we might be lucky and come down to this 50 EMA. So if you could pick it up there, you could get into that trade there. Or otherwise, if you had to just pre-order and hope that the same thing happens, that we have a wicked spike to the downside, and you hope that you get filled. So the order would have to be lying there. So if you're lucky and you get filled on that order, then you could have a better trade than one would have from here. Then it's like a 3% so 10x, you could do a 30% from that move if you're lucky enough to be picked up. So those are kind of the short-term little long trades that I would look at. And then the other thing is, if with that spike we do come up to this kind of area, one could then just do a quick short back down, and then either back down to the 20 or to the 50 EMA. So I'm sure that that trade, just looking for a short quick wick on like the 15-minute or 5-minute chart, you might be lucky enough to pick up any. So these are just short-term options for you today. If you wanted to do a scalp with the news coming up, those could come off. And then long-term, I would still just be looking at this long-term to break out above the 21,300, 21,400, so positively above that level, retested, so have a solid base there, and then trade it up to the top side target there. And then downside, I would get into a short as soon as we break the 50. But you can see how important the 50 is. Every time we've come down to test it, it's just immediately just rebounded from that. We haven't been down there for a very long time. Even when it hit the 50, it was supported by the 50. So breaking the 50 to the downside will definitely then probably come down to maybe even lower. Maybe that's then the big break that we were expecting for, to be able to buy Bitcoin back down here and trade it back up to this 21 target. So that's kind of it for Bitcoin. Ethereum, also we're trading within these two zones at the moment, and it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. So I would hope to get, if you wanted to get in quick, hope to get a wick to the downside, maybe with that spike today, expected spike volatility with the news. You could get lucky enough to get in there, and if you like insanely lucky, you could come and get it back down here, unless everything breaks down and we start going down. But this is just imagining that we're going to the top side. So I would be bullish until we've had that spike on Bitcoin, that breakout, and after that kind of reassess. So for now, I think if one could buy Ethereum here, if it wicks down to the 50 and run it to top side, that would be a good trade on Ethereum. And then the same for the downside. If we do have a big wick to the upside somewhere, you could also just do a quick trade back down to the 20 or the 50. ADA's been under this trend line on the hourly chart. So it looks, if we look at the stochastic, it isn't in sell mode at the moment. So if you're lucky, you could just wait and get ADA. Let me just turn this alarm off. Yeah. This is that XTP coin, which has just been going insane the past few days. If anyone wants to have a look at it, look, it's been an incredible, and they say it's just going to continue. It's still going to 2, 3, 4, 5, 10x from here. So I've mapped out levels. So if you wanted to go and have a look at XTP and read up, it's the tap coin. Anyway, let me get back to ADA. So back in ADA, if you could buy in here, this looks like a nice support zone, and you could then trade it up, and maybe the next time when we get up to this line, or that Bitcoin spike eventually happens, it's definitely going to break out here. And I wouldn't even go for this target here. I think once we've crossed the line, then that would be our target up there is 36, and roughly would be the first target, and then that high. Yeah, I think I'll link Joseph's previous show as well. You guys can go and have a look at that. There's some very nice levels in there for all our coins. Let's get down to MATIC. So MATIC also that same trend line, and this is also that support level that I would want to come and hit. And you can see also on the stochastic 1 hour for MATIC, it looks like you could be lucky enough to come and hit the downside here, and then just pick up, get into it there and run it up to this kind of area short term. So that is a potential upcoming trade there. XRP, the kind of two levels that XRP has been hitting, this very lower level here at the 200 EMA, and then this one here. So XRP on the other end is the stochastic is crossed to the upside, so it looks like we might come up to just come and bounce off. So let's see what happens at the yellow line. So if we hit that and start coming down again, you could maybe get into a trade here again and then run it to the upside, or if you're lucky, or with that spike today that potentially could happen, like I think this was with yesterday's news, you could get it at a better price. But yeah, so if you're not in it yet, you would have to just hang around and just be patient. And target as well then would be that wick there. I think that was actually the wick yesterday with the news. So target could be there, and the second target would be up there. And then our WRX trade that's going slowly but surely just sideways. So that was our entry, and we're still just hanging around and hoping for a spike up to 10% top side. Yeah, I'll just hold for that it's going to happen. This coin just does that all the time. Yeah, so WRX, we just waiting around patiently. And I think that's it for today, guys. Joseph will be back later this afternoon with a recap of all the coins, and that should be after the news. So let's see what he has to say after the news event, what happened. Have a great day, guys. Cheers.